All right, guys, so I stumbled across this resurfaced clip of Dwyane Wade having a discussion with other athletes about his 13-year-old, 14-year-old biological son, Zaya, formerly known as Dwyane Wade. Now, Zaya is transitioning into a girl, and Zaya is transgender. Now, in this conversation, Dwyane Wade is going to talk about the process as a parent in regards to dealing with Zion transitioning into Zaya and his experience with that. Now, this clip has resurfaced because last week, if you guys don't remember, I actually did a video about Dwyane Wade and Zaya Wade. He made headlines because he posted a picture of Zaya Wade with his boyfriend or girlfriend, I guess, right? Because Zaya Wade, again, who's 13, 14 years old, is dating a transgender boy, okay? A biological girl that is transitioning into a boy. Now, the transgender boy ended up posting a picture of them kissing, right, on the internet for the world to see. And that sparked a whole lot of conversations about Dwyane Wade and whether or not he has failed as a father, okay? So that being said, I want to break down this clip of Dwyane Wade talking about this because I think that this clip right here really does show that he absolutely did fail as a father, in my opinion, because he knew, right, early on in his life that this is something that could have been a phase, and he did not do enough to prevent this phase from turning into something that it probably really isn't. And I'm going to talk about why it probably isn't what they're pushing on young Dwyane Wade here. But before I get in that, I just want to let you guys know that if you like my channel, you want to support my channel, you can do so using the links in the descriptions below. You support the Patreon, you support the PayPal, you support the merch. There are multiple ways to support the channel if you would like to do so. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
I can't believe that it was easy. So can you kind of take us on the journey, because we see the destination, take us on the journey from finding out from Zaya saying, Dad, this is who I am, to seeing D Wade on talk shows, D Wade being a champion for his, not only for his daughter.
You see that? You see how he almost slipped up and said his son? He know what's up. All these guys know what's up. And the shamefulness in this clip is that none of these guys are going to have the cojones to call out Dwyane Wade on this.
Right? But for anybody who looks at Zaya and says, you know what, that's what I hope to have.
I'm not necessarily sure how many parents out there, especially fathers, looking at Dwyane Wade's situation and saying, yeah, I hope I have a situation like that. I'm not necessarily sure how many fathers out there are hoping for that. But hey, let's go ahead here.
Growing up in the inner city of Chicago, in the hood, you're told that boys do this. Right. Boys play football, boys play basketball, boys play baseball, boys date girls, whatever the case may be. You're told this is what you do, right? So I'm no different. I'm raised that way. I'm in the locker room. I say all the things that everyone is saying. I'm not sitting up here like I have never done or said anything, right, when it comes against the opposite sex, because I was ignorant. I didn't understand. Right. So when it hit my doorstep at 3 years old, like I said, when me and my wife looked at each other, right, and the reason we looked at each other is because of this, you know, as kids, I used to put on heels. I used to do all those things. I try to put on whatever my sisters wear. When all my sisters did, I try to do those things. So at first I said to myself, oh no, I did that. So I ain't just doing the things that I did.
Okay, so he knows that him as a kid, when he was 3 years old, he's admitted, you know, I used to do these things as a child because I didn't know any better, right? I was ignorant about the world and gender roles and how boys are supposed to be versus how girls are supposed to be. So I was doing this stuff, okay? So I knew myself that what I was going through was a phase. I knew that wasn't actually me. I knew that wasn't permanent, okay? So I want you guys to understand, this guy, he knows that when children do this stuff, when they engage in this type of behaviors, that it's not necessarily permanent. It wasn't permanent for him. He grew up to be a regular, normal, straight male, right? So I want you guys to understand that.
And then it kept going further and further, and then me and my wife had to look at each other and say, well, what if? And at that moment, everything that I was taught went out the window, because now I'm a parent. And my sole job and my sole responsibility is to make sure that this kid grow up knowing that it's supported and is loved by his father and the other parent, right? That's my only job. And so when it came down to Zaya, at 3 years old, I looked at it and said, okay, D, I looked in the mirror. And now, not only did I look in the mirror, when I went in the locker room, I started changing the way I talked. I started changing how I listen to things, and I started challenging people in a different way. Once I started to ask questions to my white friends, because I've never been, at that time, no one is in the NBA or play basketball has never been openly gay.
Right.
I've never had a conversation with
even
anybody
in our
that
locker
was
room.
openly in our locker room. So I was ignorant when it come to this space. So when my child came home at 8 years old, we were living in Chicago at the time after I left Miami, which we talked about. My child came home, and the reason my child didn't come home, it was an assignment that was done at school. An assignment at school would say, tell me about yourself. And this was the time where Zaya took the time to say, I'm black, I'm this, and I'm gay. At the time, Zaya said, I am gay.
Wow. So how do we get here? Right? How do we get here? Dwyane Wade claims that just like himself, his son, Zion, okay, was wearing dresses and doing things that was questionable at 3 years old. Now, he's saying that when he grew up, he knew that that was just a phase, even though he was doing the same thing. So it sounds like to me that Dwyane Wade didn't step in as a father and say, hey, you know what? Before this gets out of control, because it sounds like he let it get out of control because he consulted his wife's friends on something that he had personal experience with. And as a father, in my opinion, he should have nipped this in the bud and said, hey, you know what? This is not what boys are supposed to do, right? This is, something that, I understand that you're doing, but you gotta understand this is not right? This is not what you're supposed to do. You are a boy. This is how you're supposed to act. This is how you're supposed to carry yourself for the most part, okay? Now, does that guarantee that Zaya is gonna do that for the rest of his life? No, right? But as a father, you're supposed to show him, hey, this is the right way to act. This is how you're supposed to do things, and you don't just let it get out of control. You don't just start supporting it, which is what it sounds like. That's kind of what was happening. You kind of let the ball keep rolling instead of nipping it at the bud at the time when you saw that, okay, this is something that's going a little bit further than it should go, right? So again, in my opinion, when it gets to the point where an 8-year-old is saying, hey, I'm gay, how would they even know what gay means, right? How would they even know the concept or understand what that actually entails? The reason why he knew what it entails because somebody, either whether Dwyane Wade or his wife, I'm assuming he's talking about Gabrielle Union here, was pushing that on him and saying, oh, no, you are gay, right? Or letting those behaviors and those habits get out of control, right?
So the teacher called home.
At 8 years old.
At 8 years old, the teacher called home and said, hey, I just want you guys to know we post these all over the school, but we didn't want to post this if you guys didn't blah, 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 right? So we sat down with the teacher and talked about the teacher at that time was a gay female.
Okay.
Gave Zion the confidence.
That's a blessing.
To be.
That ain't no damn blessing, bro. Shut up, dog. Ryan Clark is a simp, dog. That's a simp comment, okay? This man is sit up here and said it is a blessing that Zion Wade's gay teacher, okay, lesbian teacher, whatever you want to call it, was there pushing that on him, okay? So again, I got questions. Dwyane Wade, where was you at, bro? Right? When you first saw the signs, why did you nip it in the bud? 2, was this teacher helping Zion Wade understand what sexuality is and to come out the closet? Because again, that's what it sounds like. Somebody in his life was pushing that on him. That ain't something he just came out and said. And the teacher's basically saying that, and this guy is calling it a blessing. But again, this is the type of stuff that's happening in schools. And again, this is why we have the legislation like the Parental Rights and Education Act that Ron DeSantis passed out in Florida that Democrats claim, oh, it's just a conspiracy, right? What's happening with these teachers, arguably grooming these kids? Oh, no, it's just a conspiracy. It's like, no. That is what happens. Some of these LGBTQ teachers, they see these kids and they think that they're LGBTQ kids because they exhibit certain behaviors. And then they go and they take the role of trying to mentor these kids into that lifestyle. And that is what happened to Zion/Zaya Wade. And it happened because Dwyane Wade let it happen. Zion, whatever you want to call him, he is not gay, right? And I mean, you know why he's not gay? Because he is dating a biological girl. So obviously he's attracted to women. So how can he be gay if he's attracted to women? He's attracted to a biological girl that wants to be a boy, right? But she's not a boy. She's a girl. So how's he gay? If he was really gay, right, and he wants to be a woman, then you would think that he would be dating an actual biological boy. Again, and this is why I say that what they're pushing on Zaya is not something that Zaya actually wants. It's what they're pushing on him. Because, again, if Zaya actually wanted that, he would be with a biological boy. That's what he'd be attracted to, but he's obviously not. He might be attracted to tomboy-looking girls, but he know what he like, right? He know at the end of the day what he like, okay? That's why, again, I hate to say it, I like Dwyane Wade as a basketball player. I'm pretty sure he's a great person, but he is a piss-poor father. I mean, I just don't understand how you let it get to this point when it's obvious that this child is not gay. He might have some feminine characteristics. Okay, he might switch when he walk, he might put his hands on his hips. He might do all that stuff. But that doesn't mean that he's gay. That doesn't mean that he wants to live a certain lifestyle. He doesn't really understand that. And the older he gets, as you can see here, right, it seems that he's attracted to women, right? He's attracted to girls. That's what it seems like, okay? I'm just saying.
Be able to say those words. So when we sat down and I was in the room across the way, I prepared myself for 5 years for that moment, not knowing what I was gonna do or say. When Zaya sat down with me and was across the way, just like me and you are right now, Ryan, I'm looking at my child. I don't care about anything else. I'm looking at my child and I'm looking at my responsibilities. I'm looking at a child that's crying, that's afraid to tell their father.
Wow.
Because you weren't upfront with him about this conversation when you saw it was getting out of control. Right? You let it continue to go on and let this young boy get all these thoughts in his head that he don't really understand, and you weren't there to provide the guidance that was needed from the get-go. Because, I don't know, you want to defer to your wife's friends as if they are raising your son. You should raise your son. Again, this is ridiculous, man. It really is. This is sad, okay?
That they're different than what you probably thought I was, Dad. I don't want to play basketball. I don't even want to be, I'm not a boy. I feel that I am X, Y, and Z, right?
And you're supposed to say, no. You are a boy, okay? We're not going to sit and play these games. And that's what you should affirm in their head. Now, if Zion wants to maintain that, he's a girl, then that's fine. But we ain't gonna live your life like that until, hey, you turn 18, you out on your own, you can do what you want to do. Fine. But this guy, again, the reason why this has got out of control is because he was soft. He deferred to the women in his life and his woman's friends rather than doing what he knew was the right thing and leaning on how he was raised, which helped him get over the same phase that his son went through.
I'm looking at my child scared to tell me, and I feel like I am pretty open at this time. Right. I realized that I needed to do better and I needed to do more and I needed to educate myself. And so what I did is I picked up the phone, I researched as much as I can because I needed to understand. I sat down with my child and I asked questions because I didn't know. Because it's not our job and our responsibility to tell you who you are.
Yes, it is. Right? Yes, it is. When they kids, it actually is. It actually is until they turn 18. Until they turn 18, hey, you can do what you want to do, right? But before then, it's like, bro, that is your job, right? That's what being a parent is supposed to be. That's what being a father is supposed to be.
You are going to be who you're going to be. It's my job to try to put you in the best positions to help you reach that goal of who you want to be. But it's not my job to tell you. Right. You know what I mean? And right now, we experiencing that with Zaya, my 13-year-old, who last year we came out and we spoke to the world that, hey, my 13-year-old came home and said, Dad, this is who I am. I am a transgender child. And we didn't come out until she was 12 to the world. But the reason we came out to the world was because I got tired of trying to hide my child. Right. Taking photos with the rest of my family, not posting Zaya, because we posted one thing on her birthday and there was so many bad comments that we wanted to hide her from it. But it came to a point where I said, am I hiding her from it or am I hiding myself from it?
Well, you know it ain't right, right? That's why you're hiding it. If you thought it was right, if you thought it was just, you wouldn't be hiding it. but you're hiding because you know deep down that I failed, right? And you know, I'm embarrassed and I'm ashamed of the fact that I failed. That's why he's hiding it.
That's another huge thing to me, right? Like the first two things, the first two feelings you get when you have children are love and protection.
All right. We don't need to hear this simp talk. When he said that that's a blessing, his child had a teacher that was pushing his lifestyle on him. Yeah. You know, it ain't nothing that Ryan Clark has to say has any type of credibility to it. Okay, he's just not a credible person for this conversation. And again, it's a damn shame that none of these other men called out Dwyane Wade and said, bro, why you didn't step in and guide your child in the right direction when you saw that this was getting out of control? So with that being said, again, my perspective is this, man. Just because you try to guide your child and put them in the right direction in life, you do that out of love, okay? Letting them do whatever they want is not love, in my opinion, right? That's not love when you say, oh, I'm going to let my kid, you know, say that they're a girl, okay, and participate in this lifestyle that they're potentially going to regret in the future because permanent changes, whether it's surgical or hormonal or chemically, is being pushed on them, right? That's what the problem is, okay? Because if you love somebody, you love your kid, you're going to do the right thing for them. The right thing is not pushing this type of lifestyle on them at such a young age, because worst case scenario is, well, you wait till you're 18 and then they can do what they want to do. They're old enough to be aware of the consequences of their decision. And if they want to move forward with that lifestyle, fine. But at the very least, you can say, well, up until that point, because I loved my child, I guided them in the right direction. They just decided to go in another direction. But that's not what Dwyane Wade is doing here. Dwyane Wade is complicit in what has happened to his son, because he allowed the women in his life to father his kid, right, to raise his kid instead of him raising and pushing him in the right direction, right? It is very obvious what happened here, man. It really is. And it's really a damn shame, again, that you have a bunch of men sitting on this panel and they're not even asking the question of, well, why didn't you step in and try to make him go in the right direction, right? Why was you so soft about this, okay? Especially when you saw that things was getting out of control. Why are you deferring to women, right, in regards to how to raise your son? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So with that being said, man, this interview, again, has shown me why it's not a surprise that Zaya ended up the way that he is. And again, I think all the comments about how Dwyane Wade failed as a father is definitely justified, because, yeah, he basically outlined how he failed, right? He outlined how he failed. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.